Hey, and welcome to Internet Roundup. I'm Chuck, and Josh is still getting it together.
I'm never going to get it together.
We do the Stuff You Should Know podcast by day, but by night, we don our superhero costumes, which is, kind of just what we wear.
We talked about making this public.
Oh, sorry. And we round up the internet two at a time. And if you are interested in saving the whales, and you are interested in watching pornography, those two things are coexisting right now. And
yeah.
I never knew I'd say that, but the mega porn website, pornhub.com, I suppose.
Right.
Or is it .edu?
.biz.
.biz. They are actually contributing to Save the Whales campaign, believe it or not.
And Moclips Cetological Society.
Yeah, and they are going to pledge to give, or they have, 1 cent for every 2,000 videos played across their entire free website, starting, it won't be relevant date-wise, but running till February 29th.
Leap year.
Yeah, 1 extra day of porn.
Yeah.
For money. Porn for whales.
Sure.
And I just love the way this is written. That may not sound like much of a gift until you remember just how popular porn is. As of typing this sentence, Pornhub's video play counter on its whale page showed more than 532 million video plays, and the number goes up a few thousand views every time I refresh it.
So 532 million videos, right?
Yeah.
A penny for every 2,000 video. That's a lot. But for 532 million video views, that's about $2,600.
And that's in the first few days.
Right. So, I mean, like this group does they stand to gain some change for sure?
I bet you it'll be 6 figures.
I could see it getting there, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do my part. Just kidding.
Just refresh.
Yeah. So they tracked down the president of Moclips, Kenneth Balcom, to say, did you know this is happening? And he said, yes, I am aware of it. And the beneficiary is the reconstituted Moclips Cetological Society, a nonprofit I originally founded in 1976 with a contribution of an adult theater in Seattle called the Apple Theater.
Right.
So they have a long-standing tradition with porn helping the whales.
Exactly. In Seattle, at least.
Yeah.
So, and this guy actually went on to say, and here's why it's not as weird as you would think. Mm-hmm. Whales are cetaceans. And remember, cetaceans are descended from a weird type of wolf that walked along the water line.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they still have pelvis, skeletal pelvis bones.
Okay.
And they have sex for recreation.
Oh, wow.
That was one of the big points. It's not just humans who have sex for fun. It's cetaceans as well. So this actually makes quite a bit of sense.
And Corey Price, the VP of Pornhub, says, here at Pornhub, we care deeply about the environment and the preservation of wildlife. We're now asking our community to turn their attention to and help save a different type of blowhole. One that belongs to a majestic species that once swelled in numbers throughout the oceans before commercial industries initiated their demise. So good for them.
VPs can't help but make double entendres in corporate communications, can
That's
they?
what the whole porn industry is all about, right? Double entendres. And lots of sex.
Right.
So good for them. That's great.
Yeah.
Why not? All right. Barrett Brown. Let's talk about this.
Yes, let's talk about Barrett Brown.
Pretty neat.
Barrett Brown is this dude. He's I'm not quite sure how to categorize him. Even he kind of makes fun of people's inability to categorize him. But
he's a prisoner.
He is a prisoner. He's an author. He wrote a book on the cyber-industrial complex.
Okay.
He is in prison. If you'll remember back to our Anonymous episode, Chuck.
Yeah.
He was in prison because he tweeted a link to a stolen email dump that Anonymous got their hands on.
Yeah.
Tweeted a link to it. There's never been any proof whatsoever that he had anything to do with the theft of these emails or anything like that, and yet he got 5 years in prison for tweeting that link.
Down from 17 years.
Well, he was up for a potential 105 years total.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, 17 counts for 105 years.
Yeah. So for tweeting a link to a bunch of stolen emails.
Yeah.
In his case, really, like I advise anybody to go in and look at it. It will really just put a bitter taste in your mouth, no matter how you feel about things. It's just a really good example of how lopsided things have become.
Sure.
But he has this really great, I guess, outlook, demeanor.
Yeah.
And he's in prison writing articles picked up by The Intercept, the site that runs most of Glenn Greenwald's stuff.
Yeah.
And he has a regular column called the Barrett Brown Review of Arts and Letters in Prison.
Yeah.
And he's great. He's just a great writer. I would recommend the first article you go read of his to be A Visit to the Sweat Lodge.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It gives a really good overview of what he's been doing in prison so far. And
boy, he's kept busy, and he's really using his time wisely.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, and he's also using his time to kind of mess with the establishment a little bit, a lot of bit. He said, "I've shouted comical revolutionary slogans while my Muslim cellmate flooded our tiny punishment cell in order to get back at officers who'd taken his Ramadan meal. I've spent one whole year receiving sandwiches for dinner each night as punishment, but the joke's on them because I love sandwiches."
He's learned to appreciate mediocre rap. He learned to make dice out of toilet paper. And he says in this that he's basically planning on spending his prison time chilling out, doing whatever.
Yeah.
He wasn't planning on, I guess, being much of a stick in the craw of the Department of Corrections.
Sure.
Until he was... he said there's already a network of prisoners who are dedicated to documenting basically civil liberties issues for prisoners, right?
Yeah.
So he said he didn't need to get involved. As much involved as he got was to take one of these guys who was really good at documenting it and putting him in touch with a good journalist he knew.
Yeah.
And he was apparently emailing with the journalist, and he found that an hour later his email was cut off because, as he was told, he was using it for the wrong thing,
right?
Which means that he was using it to talk to the press.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, now I'm going to stick in your craw.
Yeah.
So he's documenting his battle with the Department of Corrections over civil liberties violations of not just him, but other people. He's also chronicling the weirdness of prison life.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while he gets his hand on a book and just completely eviscerates it, because the books available to him in prison are, he mentions that he got his hands on the autobiography of Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers founder Dave Thomas. He read it and he found it wanting.
Yeah, my favorite thing that he does is every time he sees West Side graffiti on prison walls, he adds story to the bottom of it for West Side Story.
Yeah. Yep, he's definitely worth reading.
Good attitude. And he also said he read Robert Caro's 4-volume Lyndon Johnson biography over the course of a month.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, he's an amazing dude.
What else is there to do?
Apparently a lot. Make dice out of toilet paper.
Yeah, I wonder how they do that.
I don't know. But go to The Intercept and look up Barrett Brown's Review of Arts and Letters in Prison, and you will be very happy from that point on.
It is. Very enlightening. So that's it for this week. We have rounded up the internet well enough for now, and we'll see you next week.